Companies are primarily classified into private and public. Now we're going to watch about different types of companies in India. Private limited company. A private limited company is a private entity meant for small businesses. As per the provisions of the Companies Act 2013, there can be a minimum of 2 members and a maximum of 200 members in a company. In this form of company, there are a group of shareholders and the total capital is made up of shares withheld by each member. In a private limited company, the liability of members is limited to the number of shares held by them. Business assets and personal assets are treated separately. Shares of a private limited company can be sold or transferred to individuals who in turn become owners of the company. The shares, however, cannot be publicly traded. Examples of private limited companies are Reliance Industries Limited, TCS, Infosys, etc. A private limited company can be further classified as company limited by shares. This is the most generic form of a private limited company. Here the liability of members is limited by the memorandum to the amount, if any, unpaid on the shares respectively held by them. Company limited by guarantee. In this type of private limited company, the liability of the members is limited by the memorandum to such amount which the members may respectively contribute to the assets of the company in the event of its going bankrupt. Unlimited company. In this form of company, there is no limit on the liability of the members. This implies that in an event of a loss, if the company assets fall short to pay off the creditors, the private asset of its members are then consumed to clear debts. The risk factor is extremely high here. Public limited company. A public limited company shares can be purchased by the general public. The company must have 3 directors and a minimum of 7 shareholders. The shares are listed on the stock exchange and can be traded freely. Such companies are owned by their shareholders. Companies under this category require a certificate from the Registrar of Companies before starting their business operations. Examples of public limited companies are Indian Oil Corporation, Coal India Limited, State Bank of India, etc. Statutory companies. These companies incorporated by means of a special act passed by the central or state legislature. They are mostly invested with compulsory powers and are responsible to carry out some special business of national importance. Some examples of statutory companies are the Reserve Bank of India, Life Insurance Corporation of India. Holding and subsidiary companies. In some cases, a company's shares might be held fully or partly by another company. Here, the company owning these shares becomes the holding or parent company. Likewise, the company whose shares the parent company owns becomes its subsidiary company. Holding companies exercise control over their subsidiaries by dictating the composition of their board of directors. Furthermore, parent companies also exercise control by owning more than 50% of their subsidiary companies' shares. Example, Coal India is a holding company. Bharat Coking Limited, Mahanadi Coalfields Limited are its subsidiary companies. Associate companies. Associate companies are those in which other companies have significant influence. This significant influence amounts to ownership of at least 20% shares of the associate company. Ownership of higher than 50% of the stock legally turns it into a subsidiary of the parent company. The other company's control can exist in terms of the associate company's business decisions under an agreement. Associate companies can also exist under joint venture agreements. Partnership company. This is one of the different types of companies where business transactions and operations are handled by partners. The responsibilities, roles and the number of shares withheld by the 2 individuals are clearly defined in the legal partnership agreement. The profits or loss incurred by the business is divided among the partners as stated in the agreement. One-person company. It was introduced under the Companies Act 2013 in favor of entrepreneurs who possess the capability to run a business single-handedly, yet successfully. The minimum paid-up capital of shares in an OPC is INR 1 lakh. It is highly beneficial for owners of small businesses who do not need partners. Much in a similar way, OPC is regarded as a distinct legal entity from its members. The shareholders here have limited liability protection, and this form of company is quite easy to incorporate. Section 8 Company. This type of company is registered as a non-profit organization. The objective of an NPO is primarily to promote arts, commerce and various forms of social welfare in the form of education, charity, religion, and protection of the environment, to name few. Any profits, if generated, here are used in achieving its aforesaid objective. The dividends are also not paid to its members. In India, no business can be treated as a company if it is not registered with the Registrar of Companies under the Companies Act 2013. It is only after registration that a company becomes a separate legal entity from its members. Government companies. Government companies are those in which more than 50% of share capital is held by either the central government or by one or more state government, or jointly by the central government and one or more state government. Notwithstanding all the pervasive control of the government company is neither a government department nor a government establishment. Examples of government companies are Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, Air India Limited, Delhi Metro Rail Corporation Limited, etc. Foreign companies. These are incorporated outside India. They also conduct business in India using a place of business either by themselves or with some other company. Examples of foreign companies are Microsoft Corporation, IBM, the Coca-Cola Company, etc. Thank you for watching and subscribe.